Hello, I'm Chuck Ison, producer of the motion picture Death Screams. Ever since this film has been finished, people have been dying all over the country from sorrow. What happens in Death Screams could be happening in your hometown tonight. Dear God, I hope not.
Rated R. Now playing at a theater near you.
All right, we're here for a very special episode with Lacy Lou, who writes for pophorror.com. She also is on Cut to the Chase podcast feed, where she hosts a couple shows on there, Slumber Party Massacre and Cut to the Chase. So how's it going, Lacy?
It's going. This has been in the works for quite some time, Mr. Parka.
Yeah, for sure. I was on your show a couple times, but I don't think you were ever on here. You were on 22 Shots when I was on there. But yeah, we're here to talk about one of the most ridiculous slashers of 1982, Death Screams, a.k.a. House of Death. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot to go grab my VHS. I have an old VHS of this one, like one of the big boxes cut up. I don't know when I got it, but it's been in my house for like 20 years. It's been with me for like 20 years.
I thought that, I forgot to check on our House of Death because it might be in here. Do you have this book? I'm sure you do.
I don't think I do have that one. I might. Is that, who wrote that one?
J.A. Kurzweil. It's the teenage slasher movie book, second revised, expanded edition.
Nice. It's got to be under, is it under Death Screams? Or is it going to be under?
I looked under Death Screams. I'm not seeing it for there. So what was the other name?
House of Death.
House of Death.
I guess I'll get into a little bit of production when we're looking for that. So I believe this movie was, if you listen to the commentaries in the background and do some reading and stuff like that, it was filmed in North Carolina in 1981 around April-May timeframe. And some people say it was released in 81, couldn't really find anything, but the wide release generally is considered 1982. These movies were like drive-through and grindhouse kind of theaters and stuff like that. I believe this one was probably more aimed at the southern kind of part of the country. Obviously, it probably would appeal more to that kind of deal, but it was shot at like the Earl Owensby, who produced a bunch of weird movies, and they have a certain charm about them. The one that I'm familiar with is called A Day of Judgment, which is a 1981 semi-slasher religious horror film. It's really bonkers and weird, and it has a couple of the actors from this one in there. The sheriff, William Hicks, is in there as like a slimy piece of shit greedy guy. And the old woman in here, I can't think of her name. I'm going to have to look it up. She's my favorite character. Helene Tryon. She's in that as like just a bitchy old woman. And they get their comeuppance. It's really fun. But yeah, they're both in this one as well. And I think some of the other actors are too. So yeah. When did you first see Death Screams?
So I must be having is it the Mandela effect to where like you think you've seen it in something? So I swear I thought I saw it in here, but it's not like in the legend, the index here for under either name. So I swear like I had seen it because a few years ago, my friend Craig Edwards, he does this thing called Crazy Movie Weekend, and where he totals up they watch a bunch of different horror movies in the weekend, some weekend in October. And so I decided and they count how many people die in the movies. I decided to do my own rendition of it, and so I call it Kill Count Weekend. And so I just went on our good old friend Nudie's Plex and just kind of looked up horror movies that he had on there, and this one I hadn't heard, and obviously it has Scream in the title, so I was like, you know what, I bet you this is gonna be good. And it starts off really good, and then for about an hour and 40 minutes or an hour and 20 minutes, nothing happens, but we'll get there. But so I was like, man, this is gonna suck for Kill Count Weekend because there's only 2 bodies for a good majority of the film, but then all of a sudden it so it ended up being a pretty good body count for that weekend for that movie. So I wasn't disappointed for that, but that's how I came across it, I guess. I thought I had seen it in that book though.
Yeah, this one, I think I saw when the Arrow, I don't think I saw it on VHS or DVD, although I had the VHS for years. I saw it when the Arrow Blu-ray was released. Nice release of it, too. Cleaned it up. Probably was the best way to see it. And when I first watched this, I was just kind of baffled. I was like, oh, this is incredibly regional. Such a regional slasher film. But it had a certain charm about it. I thought the pacing was awful the first time I watched it. But on rewatch, just going through it, it had almost a charm that I absolutely loved. So the opening is very typical, right? Kids making out, and they were talking on the commentaries that it was supposed to take place in the car. The writer wrote it in the car, and then they're like, we changed it. It's in a motorcycle now. He's like, how the fuck's that gonna work? And then when he saw the movie, he's like, all right, whatever. But it's just a really weird scene where they use like garrote, like to kill two people, and then like throughout the whole movie, there's like that constant re-going back to them down the stream.
Right.
Which seems
like
awful for two actors.
To each other.
They're garroted together. They're
Right.
tied together in death. So it's just like, that's so silly.
No, like as we were watching it, because I had Dan watch it with me last time, because the first time I watched it was by myself. So I had him watch it, and there's a part where we noticed where they just keep running, and he's like, what'd they do? Just like set up the camera and tell them just to run? Like, all right, now it's your turn, go. And like towards the end of the film, and
yeah.
And then that happens like several times. It's just like they just sat a camera in place, and like they didn't even bother to move it. Like, I mean, I don't know if they had to do like guerrilla filmmaking or something, but
it's definitely made on a budget. And it's really weird because the director is David Nelson, and he's a guy that worked mostly in TV. But the real point of bringing up David Nelson is he's brothers with older brother Ricky Nelson, who is like a famous musician. Yeah, who's in Rio Bravo, who's the guy who plays all the guitar music in Rio Bravo. And he's just, that's what I know him from. But he was a famous musician. He died really young. But he's brothers with Ricky Nelson, and David Nelson are brothers, which is crazy to me. So it's like this guy was a TV director, so he probably directed a lot of it like TV. It was clearly made on a budget, like you could tell. Yeah. It's professionally done, but it's also very budget constrained. So the special effects are decent though too, and it's crazy because the special effects artist is the most famous probably person behind the scenes, Worth Kiger. He was actually directed a bunch of movies and worked on a bunch of films, like bigger movies, directed Power Rangers and stuff, and had a huge career. But he was involved with the Ern Owensby like camp. But all the dude did on this was special effects because he was the only guy qualified on the set. And they're pretty decent. They're not amazing. They're not like Savini or they're not Rob Bottin, right?
The hand thing, like, I mean, that's pretty. I mean, I don't know if I could figure that out, and so,
that was a fun one. And it's weird because in '82 there's another movie called Turkey Shoot. Escape. Same thing happens. Some guy has his hands up there and they whack him off and whatnot. But I guess we just get to the rundown of the movie because I think the pacing and the rundown of the film is probably one of the ones that stands out. There's it's weird. As I get older, I start to enjoy more like considered like Z-grade slasher movies, like from the 80s. Like I'm like, if I saw this at like 15, I'm like, this is a piece of shit. But then like I don't notice the regional charm. And then before long, I'm just watching like some lady push another old lady in a wheelchair. I'm like, this is good stuff, guys. You got to check this movie out. It has a 20-minute wheelchair pushing scene.
I thought for sure we were gonna get a Mrs. Deagle scene from fucking Gremlins.
Oh yeah.
And like, I mean, there's a point where she's coming up on the staircase, and no, unfortunately, it never happens. And Dan just kept going. She's got to bite it here soon, right?
I like her because she's got like a little bit of like bite to her. When that one old lady's like, she's like, listen, I'm not deaf, and like. I like her a lot. Like, she's great in Day of Judgment because, like, she basically poisoned someone's pet because they go on her property. And then, like, literally, like, a satanic, like, the Grim Reaper comes to the town and just starts taking people to hell. And she gets drug into the ground. And, like, it's really fun. But
I've never even heard of it.
It's really cheap and regional and, like, kind of slow. But you're just watching it like, what the fuck? It's such a morality story that was like clearly a super religious movie, and then they're like, this sucks. We need to add some like horror in this movie, and they just added like a bunch of like the Grim Reaper shit. But do you have any favorite characters in here? Do you like anybody in here?
Okay, like the fudge bitch, like
which one?
The fudge bitch. Like I can't think of.
Yeah, the fudge bitch.
Like, which she had like the nastiest looking treats. I would have chose the other girl too, even though that dude looks like he's 50 compared to everybody else.
The coach?
Yes, like it's such a weird like story, but like I mean I really like was invested in. I'm just gonna call her fudge bitch if that's okay.
Fudge bitch. It was actually Sharon Alley.
Sharon Alley.
She hated acting after that and modeling, so she worked behind the camera for the rest of her life. She did a bunch of work and shit, like electrical stuff. Yeah, she's interviewed on the disc. Yeah, she's fun.
Like if I was being known for as fudge bitch, I might feel the same.
Like when she gives that dude the meringue pie, he's like, I'm partial to this pie. You're like, who's this fucking local? This local yokel they got here. You could just tell. He's just like, you want to be in a movie? He's like, sure. It's probably like the 5th take. That was probably like the 30th take, and that's the best they got of him.
Right. Like, no, and that's what kind of, this movie has a bit of charm to it. Like, especially like during the carnival. Like, I remember watching it and I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. We're going to get some like fun carnival deaths. Like, no, we don't get that. I mean, we get one, but like, when the chick in the kissing booth and like you have the biker dude come up and she changes the price to $5. Like, if that dude,
I'm not kissing him for 50.
Right. And then he comes back again. And she goes out and puts up the sign, like, out to lunch. Like, there's just fun, like, little moments like that throughout this movie. And the characters are all just completely random. But I have to say that Fudge Bitch, like, stole it for me just because, you know, she's, like, she has, like, the whipped cream or the shaving cream or, you know, I'm assuming it's, like, for the lemon meringue pie. Like, she, you know, gets the guy's car and then, like, within like 5 minutes she gets shot with an arrow, like randomly.
And then, like, she runs away from like the things and ends up on a merry-go-round, which is clearly like a horse set piece. I think that was reshoots. But
right.
It's also funny like how like the coach is like kind of like he's definitely like he's like, no, I can't do that. And then she's like, what about this? And then it's like he's just waiting for her to ask her, what about the brownie? And then he's like, yeah, I can do a brownie. Like he just wanted the fucking brownie, but he didn't want to say anything. He didn't want to pay for it too.
He never ate it either.
No.
Like,
he's too busy killing her. He's too
Right.
busy killing her. He should have. Well, that would have gave him away though. They do the whole movie where it, like you think it's him, but then they're like you can't because he's dead supposedly, and that creates a lot of confusion because like without watching the features and the commentaries, like you're not really sure exactly what the motive of the killer is or what the hell happened to the Casey, the mentally handicapped guy. Like he's the guy like lurking around, and he loved the coach, and he's the one who actually when the body falls, that's actually Casey, and the sheriff is his dad. So Casey's dead. That's why the sheriff goes apeshit at the end and shoots him in the face 7 times for no apparent reason. But and then also the coach was supposed to have like some background, the classic background of a killer who's like, my mom was mean to me or sexual stuff, or any of those movies are flashbacks like Pieces or Nightmares into Damaged Brains. Like I saw something sexual and now I'm all messed up, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, we did get like a weird flashback, didn't we?
Yeah.
Like just randomly. Like, I mean, we don't really know like a whole lot about this person to begin with, but now like we're getting some random ass like whorehouse like Michael Myers, Rob Zombie, like Sharon, like you know, like that's what it felt like. Like
they were supposed to be sexually abused by his mother, is the backstory. He's supposed to be sexually abused by his mother, and anybody he sees is loose. He's basically like, what do they call it, a missionary killer, a morality killer, or something like that kills people that they feel is, you know, I'm doing the Lord's work or whatever. I guess it was less religious, but that's why like the old woman who's like leery about her daughter like dating that guy, because she said he comes from a bad family, something like that. Doesn't like it because although they do share like kind of some sort of like bond, which they do not know because she was born out of wedlock in this small town. So they both kind of have that kind of feeling there. But I think the one thing that I do like about this is that little backstory with the sheriff too. You know, how he's just like constantly like after the girl Ramona. He's like never can be too much for you when he's talking about her sleeping around and everything. You're like, what a dick.
Did you know that one of these gals was Jamie Lee Curtis's stepmom at one point in time?
Yeah, she was married to Tony Curtis from like 84 to 92, but she was like younger than Jamie Lee Curtis. Right.
She looks like the knockoff version of Helen Hunt.
Yeah, she's like the girlfriend of the one guy who's with the coach in the beginning. She's out throughout the whole movie. She's not with like the main core of friends, but she's like comes at the end. Candy
Stripes, yeah.
Yeah, she comes in like to the campfire and the end scene. The one thing also that I really like about this movie is they definitely knew that like they had this put a lot of nudity in here, and like I miss nudity in movies, but it was funny. Like there was so much nudity. It was like the skinny dipping scene. I was just like, this is kind of explicit. Like you're like seeing her like obviously the underwater scenes are in a pool, but you see like her like pushing off. I was like, is this Zombie Lake territory where it's just like focused on her swimming? And then like the flashback had nudity, and there was just like 2 or 3 scenes that were pretty explicit for the 80s.
Right, and there was one where it like wasn't even like full nudity. She was like in a bra, but you could totally see like you know?
It's just her breast is hanging out. And then also like when the one lady showed up, the main lady in here who Susan Kiger, who plays Lily Carpenter, she actually was a Playboy in a Playboy spread, but she doesn't
Right.
actually do nudity in here. But it's like when she shows up to the campfire scene, like she's got like hard nipples, like are ridiculous. Like she's just like pointing out, and all the guys are like, "Huh?" And I'm just like, she's definitely trying to one up all the other actresses without even being nude.
No, I love that you just brought me back to like the campfire scene because I think I would have forgot otherwise. But it was very reminiscent of, Friday 2, and then also
The Burning and Madman.
and I know what you did last summer. Like
Yeah.
I feel like because Sarah Michelle Gellar like even tells that like in a similar way because she's like there was a drip, drip, drip.
Yeah.
And this bitch just said drip like 50 times. So I was like, I wonder if, that's where Williamson got it from.
Well, it's also like the worst told story ever. It's probably actually the worst scene in the movie. It's like when your friend's telling a story and everyone loses interest, but he has to finish it. Like he's gone too far, so it's like 40 minutes of a story left, and everybody's like already checked out. And he's like, yeah, so it was a dark night, and then she was home alone, and it was stormy, and she had a dog, and she was in the house, and it was dark, and there was a dog. And did I mention there was an escaped convict, and it was foggy, and there was a dog, and she had a dog. And then it was just like, no one would write Maniacs Lick Hands 2 is the worst. Like, whoever wrote that story, I think it was butchered. I feel like they were like, it was in the script, and she was like, I'm just going to improv this. And then, like, for whatever reason, they edited it so bad. Like, I don't think the acting's horrible, but during that scene, I'm just like, what in the fucking hell is happening here?
Right. That's like how I felt about like the guy that like obviously like had like the mental disability. I think his name was Casey. Like I feel like you watched like the commentary, so you probably know more about like why they chose to implement that. But like all I could think about was literally like the Straw Dogs remake and Ben Stiller and Tropic Thunder. Like
Those are two movies I have not seen, but I have seen the original Straw Dogs.
Oh my God. Okay, so there's a reference where they say you should never go full.
Oh yeah.
And
I see what you mean there. Yeah.
So, and like the guy from Dominic Purcell is the one in Straw Dogs, and he just goes full, and it's just so bad in the
What
remake.
weird casting. Like he's like this big, like hulking guy, and it's like cast him like that. It's so strange.
It was so weird, like, because like I just got done like watching Prison Break too, like maybe like the first couple seasons, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be cool to see him, and instead like you go and he's not playing at all the character that you thought, and it just doesn't work. Like why would you cast somebody that is in like a hit TV show to go full?
Yeah.
It's just bad. It's a bad choice.
In the original movie, it's David Warner, who's a good choice because he's got that tall, lanky. He's almost like a Frankenstein monster type character in that movie. He's very Lenny from
I
All
did
Mice
not
and
know
Men,
that
the
was
original.
David Warner.
In the old one, yeah, the 71 one. He's great. He's not credited because I guess he didn't want to be credited in it or something. He's in 3 Sam Peckinpah movies, which is a lot for Peckinpah was a hard director to work with. So if you're in 3 of his movies, that's saying something, I guess. But and I don't know. I'm going on this tirade about Straw Dogs. I just love the original because it's like in Britain and it's so it actually you feel like a fish out of water if you're Dustin Hoffman. Like there's a lot of shit going on in Straw Dogs, but that's always what you worry about when you're talking about one movie and then you start talking about another movie that is more interesting than it. Like you're like, let's talk about Straw Dogs.
Well, that had. Well, I mean, so back to the point. Like the guy in this one, he like I don't know. Like, was that a choice? Like in the commentary, did they talk about that at all for like his mental stability? Like.
They talk about, well, he was actually in a car accident, is what they say. Ramona and him were in a car accident, and that's where he got slow. That's why the sheriff hates Ramona, because they were in the car together. And that's why he's mentally ill. I think that whole subplot is basically just red herrings, because then you assume that the sheriff is possibly the killer, that's why they never show the killer. That Casey could be the killer, that the coach could be the killer. And they said even in this the kind of script, they were like, we show that, Edna gets out of the wheelchair, so she could be the killer. They kind of let you like be very vague with it. The ending, I think, is really awesome because when you're watching it, they've established the characters. A lot of them are one-dimensional, but they've established them, and you know who they all are, and they just all bite it within like seconds, and there's like that. It's pretty intense, to be honest. Like that, they all just start dying like that, and it gets really gory with the chainsaw underneath, like the half chainsaw. It's very like stage
Under the
fright.
stairs, yeah.
Yeah. Chainsaw Under the Stairs is a great title, by the way.
I love that.
Yeah, but I felt bad. Ramona's kind of weird. Like, I don't know if this movie's trying to put like, You know how they always said, like, in the back of the day, they'd be like, oh, if you have sex in a slasher, it's a morality tale. It's like, that was, like, revisionist history, I think, in a lot of ways. Like, you know, after, like, Kevin Williamson made that, like, it's kind of just, like, a joke that people, after they saw Scream, were like, now we're going to put it in every slasher after this. And it's like, I think it's, like, push revisionist history, and people are like, well, yeah, well, they do die after they have sex. It's like, because people want to see nudity. That's why there's having sex in it, and they're not going to just, like, go kill random people. I mean, there is some of it, some truth to it, to be honest, but I think some of these movies are more like that, too. People just looking at what they saw, like Halloween, like, oh, well, you know, they have sex and they get killed. So that's what we're going to do. Less the actual big movies setting that standard.
Yeah, like, it's almost like a foreign concept to see, like, nudity in a horror movie, especially, like, a theatrical release. I mean, you'll get it a lot in, like, independent, but, like, the indie horror scene. But, you know, there is a nudity scene in Sinners, so I was surprised to see
It's coming
that.
back. I'm happy to see it. It was in the 80s.
It is an art form. It is, you know? And, like, I just feel like there's something to be said about, you know, just giving yourself to that character, you know, even though it's not something you would probably do in, like, everyday life, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
My friends... Oh, God.
Oh, yeah, no, I was going to say, I think that's what was, like, really lacking in, like, the you know, the David Gordon Green trilogy of Halloween. There's, like, no nudity. Like, what are we doing here?
I like the third one because it's the least Halloween, and but
I'm a sucker for Halloween Ends just because, like, I really love the soundtrack. I don't know, and I really love that opening.
yeah, I think, like, the first two acts are better than the final act, but I still like the movie. You know what I mean? I just thought Halloween Kills was really silly. Like, it was really goofy. I thought it was the worst of the three, but I mean, I don't want to.
Yep.
I think it's the worst, but I enjoy it just because it's pure nonsense. Like, it's just like, and I stop holding, like, sequels of, like, we get so high in the sequels, I stop holding them to the same regard. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing? Like, oh, it was terrible. It's like, it's number 10, guys. I don't know what you want.
I have the novelization of Ends. Well, I have them all.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, like, so I'm excited. I hear that they're, like, so much better to read than, like, watch the film because they're, like, more descriptive. So I just got back into reading a lot. So I'm going to read them during Halloween season. And I'm going to do, like, some blogs on them and stuff. So I'm excited to see if what they add or take away from anyways.
Yeah, for sure. They get in, like, the mental capacity. I remember I picked up the Tombstone novelization hoping that they would go into, like, the more of the cowboys, like the in-depth cowboy characters that are in the movie, and, like, they obviously have characters and they have names, but they're not fleshed out in the movie. I was like, oh, they'll flesh these guys out, and nothing. Fucking sucked. I started skipping. I was like, this sucks. But
that's the Val Kilmer movie.
Yeah. Big fan of the movie. I mean, I like the true story too, but obviously the movie doesn't follow the true story. It's weird because we started, like, the slasher heyday. Probably, you know, Halloween kicked it off, and then by 1980, everything was a slasher. 81 is the year of the slasher, millions of them. But even by 82, there's a lot of them. But we're starting to, like, slow down. Like, I think 82, like, pretty much killed it for a while until Nightmare on Elm Street came, and everybody's like, hey, we can do supernatural slashers, you know? But this year had so many slashers. I don't know how many of these you've seen because a lot of them are low budget and regional. But I'm curious, which ones do you want to do a better than or worse than?
Let's do a better than.
Yeah, I would say you think that Death Screams is better or worse, better than this movie. You just say whichever title you think is a better movie.
Okay.
It's going to take a big gap. Before I want to say that, I do want to mention that I really love the sheriff's enthusiasm throughout the entire movie of not doing anything, which is very similar.
He has I was telling Dan this last night. I was like, I think this has maybe one of my favorite ending lines to a movie ever. She comes out of the house and she's just like, why? And he goes, I don't know. After shooting some dude's head like a billion times, you just so nonchalant. You're right. He's like, I don't know. Let's get you. Like
they also ADR'd the gun shooting like 6 more times when he clearly didn't shoot it. Because it's like 1, 2, and then he's just like fucking gun.
Leaning into the shoot.
Yeah, like, and they used that head the second time. Like, that was the head that got lopped off in the car. But then they shoot him like 8 more times in the head. Like, it's actually fun, but it's just really weird. Like, the sheriff is insane. Like, he's insane.
Like, if it wasn't for him, and I feel like if it wasn't for, like, the last, like, 15 minutes of the movie, like, it, you know, like, it starts off like your typical, you know, 80s slasher, and then there's a big lull until we get Fudge Bitch And then, we get the strip scene and then a bunch of deaths all at once. Like, I feel like if it wasn't for that ending, like, it would be completely not memorable, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But the ending just, like, it really just stuck out in my mind. I was like, a lot of shit happens, and it's, like, really within the last 10 minutes, actually. So...
We do have so many one-dimensional characters. Like, I wouldn't say one-dimensional. I would say trope characters from the slasher, right? We have the easy girl. But she gets a little bit more background. Like, you realize that she's kind of tortured and doesn't want to be there. She's actually more developed than a lot of the other ones. We have the lazy cop, the lazy fat cop. We have the big strong guy. We have the prankster. We have the slow guy. We have the nice girl. You know what I mean? Like, we have so many. We have the teacher who's hip, but there's so many. Like, it's like these people definitely went to the theater and watched 5 or 6 of these and like, we can do that. We can do this, man. Friday the 13th. But I never felt like the first like 4 or 5 Friday the 13th were like, hey, we need this character or that character. I never felt like any of them were just stereotypes. As generic as they became, I don't feel like any, even though they reflect a director and whatever was hot at the moment, none of the characters feel like they're just two, like, character types. Like, that's the jock and that's the, the stoner.
Right, that's the Shelley of the group.
Yeah. There is a Shelley here, though. Like, but I feel like that guy kind of started with Franklin. Although Franklin wasn't a practical joker,
that's a good point.
He was goofy and he had the big kind of like fro haircut. Like, you just need this guy with a giant mop on his head, right? And these people, a lot of the same people, like the big fro thing. A lot of these people worked on, although I think all 3 of the like maid guys have like a fro, like a weird big curly mop. And some of these guys look like they're fucking 35, 40 years old.
They do. Like, I like that dude, the coach, like, as he was getting the fudge, I was like, how old is this guy? Like,
He could be a little older, but some of those kids were like old as fuck. Somebody said like one of them was 41. It was like,
the time of filming?
Yeah, like, I don't know if that's true. It might be an exaggeration, but it's pretty silly. Dude, the commentary is funny because Phil Smoot's on there, and he knew everybody that worked on the movie, but he didn't work on the movie, and he directed a couple movies himself. Like, there's a couple from '85, like Alien Outlaw, which has Lash LaRue in it, which is a regional bizarre one, and he did another one called Dark Something. I can't remember it, the title, but it's kind of fun, where a bunch of like kind of Native American style kind of monsters come, and it's like a really, really even low budget, slower version of Neon Maniacs in a slight way, which is kind of like I'm not like weird, but yeah. So is there anything you want to say else about this movie before we do the better? I do want to say I really like the Helene Tryon, the old lady. I think she's like just cute, like the cute in a weird kind of like regional way in the movie. I think she's great in it.
Yeah, they could have killed her, but yeah.
No!
More death screams. No, I thought the kills were fun, like, especially, like when you don't even necessarily get to see them, but then their bodies are set up a certain way. I thought that, I think they did get really creative with, the ending there. And I also, like you said, it might have been reshoots, but where she just gets like suffocated on the, carousel.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't remember because there was a point in time in the movie where they're all on the carousel. I said, okay, I think this is where something happens. I couldn't remember. And then I was like disappointed when nothing did happen because this is only my second time watching it.
Yeah.
But then it comes back to Fudge Bitch, and I was like, yes. And then like it reminds you of that scene where Mac and Me, where they just go off the cliff. And after she gets like hit with the arrow, and she just like randomly just tumbles like down, and then it gets a close-up of her, and it's like dried blood, even though she was just literally amputated with the
it's
arrow.
hot out,
but it's like so dry, and like
that was actually just fudge that was like brownie on her back. She's running like
it was just
she was supposed to die in the house, the like crazy, like the House of Horrors or whatever. She was supposed to die in there, and like a guillotine was supposed to take her head off. And that's why Casey ran out all scared. But then they changed all this stuff around, so it just was like, that would have probably been a little bit better, right?
Yeah, it's a bit convoluted, but like, especially with like the reveal, because he just like pops in, and you're like, what?
Yeah, it's bizarre. So do you think it's better than or worse than these 1982 slasher movies? Better than Friday the 13th Part 3?
No.
Better than Pieces?
I'm not like super super close to Pieces. I know a lot of people are. Like, I watched it and I had a hard time getting into it. So I'm going to say it's better then.
Oh, Slumber Party Massacre.
Oh, how dare you. No, it's not better than Slumber Party Massacre.
Honeymoon Whore, which has an even worse sheriff in it. Like, the worst, laziest sheriff of all time.
I haven't seen that one, so I'm going to say that Death Screams is better.
It is better. Honeymoon Whore is horrible. It's got to be the worst slasher, 82. Girls' Night Out.
I haven't seen it. I was supposed to do a commentary on it a while ago. I have the special edition one, but I haven't watched it yet. So, what do you think?
I think Girls' Night Out's a little bit better, but I think they're comparable, honestly.
Like,
I think Girls' Night Out is just better made, but I think,
do they have the same slow pace?
I think so, to a certain extent. They definitely have some of the same charm going on here. There's a really funny line in it. Has a good cast though too. Rutanya Alda's in it from Amityville 2: The Possession and a bunch of classic movies. She's in it as this lunch lady kind of deal at the college. It's pretty solid.
That's the best Amityville movie, I think.
The ones I've seen, I think so too. I just did one on that a couple weeks ago. Our Amityville 2: Possession. Yeah, it's pretty intense.
Yeah, is that the one with the brother sister?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think that's the best one. I don't know.
Yeah, it's fun. House on Sorority Row.
House on Sorority Row.
Alone in the Dark.
I've only seen that one once. I think this one's more fun. I think this one has better dust.
Okay. Trick or Treats. Not to be confused with Trick or Treat or Trick or Treat.
I don't think I've seen it. Is this the heavy metal one?
No, that's
No?
86.
Okay.
This is another one. This is the one that should have been forgotten.
Okay, well, let's forget it.
Humongous.
Is that the one with it's creature feature?
Yeah, they're on the island.
Yeah. Oh man, that's been, oh god, I feel like that's a fever dream as a kid. So I don't full on remember it, but I'm gonna go with Death Scream just because I like the deaths.
Storm That Drip Blood, aka Pranks.
That one.
You like that one? That one has some good kills in it.
Yeah, I don't full on remember it, but I remember enjoying it. I think they played it on USA Up All Night for some reason, or one of those shows.
Very well could be.
I feel like that's where I seen it, and it was I feel like Rhonda Shear did it.
Death Valley.
Is that the one with the little boy from Christmas Story?
Yep.
Okay, I gotta go with that one.
That's a much better movie.
Yeah,
with Wilford Brimley in it.
Yeah, we covered that one on Slumber Party Massacre. I think that was one of our stalker episodes. I think. Yeah, oddly.
The Slayer.
I don't think I've seen that one.
That one's pretty unique, especially if you like it's slow, but it's got that's a lot of slow slashers from 82. It's they put the brakes on from 81, but it's this lady has terrible nightmares and they go to this Tybee Island, I think it is the one Tybee Island by Georgia. I think that's where it's filmed, and they kind of go there and they're isolated, and she has these nightmares that sort of invade reality, and it's a slasher thing, and it's before Nightmare on Elm Street, which is crazy. Obviously not as good as Nightmare on Elm Street, but you get it's kind of weird. Well, Midnight.
Yeah, what's that one about?
It's the one with the three. They're kind of traveling, two guys and a young girl, and they kind of run into the Hicks in the Pennsylvania woods.
Is it kind of like Last House?
There's no rape. It's not a rape kind of movie, but it has the weird cult. They're kind of like devil worshippers.
I haven't seen it, but now I want to.
It's really low budget and regional, but it has a charm, and it has this song that goes through the whole movie that's it has its own music to it. Those classic made for regional horror. Yeah, exactly. It's a fall break. It's just Midnight's really good though. Let me pick Mortuary. I know you've seen that one.
Yes, I watched that one not too long ago. I feel like I did that for SPM. I'm trying to remember what happens in it. I think I enjoyed that one quite a bit, so I'm going to go with that one, even though I don't remember exactly what happened.
I'm not sure if you've seen any of these other ones. They're really cheap. The Forest.
Mm-mm.
All right. There's some Deadly Games is another one that's kind of high up for this
Deadly
year.
Game. Is that the one? Is that a Christmas movie?
No, that's another movie called Deadly Games, aka Dial Code Santa Claus. That's the one. That's a pretty good one. Yeah, I think we're done. I don't think any more of these. I don't know if you've seen Visiting Hours with Michael Ironside.
Is that the hospital one?
Yep.
Yeah, and God, for some reason, is Bruce Campbell in that movie?
No.
Is this
Are
the
you
one?
thinking of Bad Dreams with Bruce Abbott?
No, is this the one where like the guy is like after the nurse and
Yeah.
she's like in her house and he's just like stalking her throughout the night?
Yeah, and it's Ironside.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I would probably say that one, just because it's more well known. But like I said, the deaths in this one are really fun if you can like make it through the not a lot happening for an hour.
Yeah, there isn't that much to actually going on here. I can't remember. Visiting Hours, she might be like, I think she's like a radio host or something like that. And William Shatner's in it too. It's decent, but it's basically Ironside stalking her. The whole movie breaks in her house and stuff. It takes place in a hospital predominantly, though, but can't remember all the little
For
details.
some reason, I thought she was a nurse. I might be thinking of another movie, but it sounds similar. It kind of reminds me of New Year's Evil.
Yeah, that has that. And Hospital Massacre has the lady who goes in, Barbie Benton, for like one small little thing, and they have her in hospital for like the whole movie.
Oh man,
Somebody
like
stalking her.
your knowledge of like horror movies, especially like of this time era, is like unmatched. Like,
Oh,
you know,
I
like,
got guys on my show that just make me school me.
no, like I mean, like I feel like I know, like I feel like my sweet spot is like definitely like '90s, like early 2000s. Like that's just, I mean, I can get like late '80s. Like I grew up with like I started with like Child's Play and that's where like my niche would come in from those era and on, like Lost Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up with a lot of that too. Here's like what I watched a lot of horror movies growing up, and my taste I think are a little bit more traditional when it becomes like before like 1985 and before. My taste is real traditional, but like the ones that I was introduced to at like 4, 5, 6, because I was a video store kid, so like 86 to like 90, like 6, my taste is completely ridiculous. Like it's all like the stupidest shit. It'll be like, oh, like it's like, oh, you think Psychos in Love is better than Near Dark? I'm like, yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just that kind of shit where it's like, I know it's not the right choice, but I just like it better because it's the way my DNA is made up in this kind of aspect, the goofiness and funniness.
No, I get that. Like, because like I like weird shit too. Like, I think like the House of Wax remake is amazing, and like people think I'm crazy. Like, I think a lot of those remakes that came out in like the mid 2000s are just like so much fucking fun, and it just like recycled this area like completely. But I feel like a lot of them are more fun than the originals. Like, I don't know, like.
House of Wax was just like a remake of Tourist Trap, but it's like House of Wax is a good one though. I didn't see that until we did 2005 because it had such a bad rep, and I watched it. I was like, this is actually one of the better movies from 2005. 2005 is really top heavy.
Right, I can't believe it's 20 years old.
Yeah. It was a fun movie though.
It is. It was its 20th anniversary was yesterday. I don't know when the show's gonna drop, but yeah.
It's got the really good set piece at the end too with the wax melting. That's really cool.
Yeah, and the soundtrack. Oh, like I'm big into like soundtracks. Like that's how I learn about music. Like I can't tell you like who sang something at all. Like I'll just know, hey, it's from that movie. I can do that, but like, I can't tell you the artist or anything. Like it's not in my brain to remember who the artists are. But I'll tell you what movie it's from or TV show.
I'm somewhat with that, like, you know what I mean, actors wise and stuff. But so I do want to mention, although like an actor from all his horror movies, and they're like, that's the guy from like Casablanca. I'm like, but he was in this movie in the background, and he like, yeah, it's like that's Taco Guy in Return of the Living Dead 3. It's like, no, it's not Taco Guy, like, you know what I mean? But I do want to mention the score is actually really big and has like that nice orchestra, and when you open the credits, you're like, what the? It's so like huge, and it's so much bigger than the rest of the movie. It's like a guy named D. Barton who did a couple Clint Eastwood movies early on. He did Play Misty for me, Thunderbolt, and Lightfoot, and he did another High Plains Drifter, which like early on those great Clint Eastwood movies, he did the score for those. So it's like him being the guy who doing the score on this is like this is a little bit, you know, way above his, you know, his like pay grade here.
Yeah, like it was like I know Dan commented on it. I can't remember what he said. I think he said it was kind of like reminiscent of Friday too, as well. Like with the like, you know, like motif, if I'm saying that right. I don't know. I probably make myself sound stupid. I don't want to go full,
Yeah. I hate when I make a mistake and then like I re-listen to it and I hear it. I'm like, that's not right. That's not right at all. Like, and then you just know, like, but you knew it, but you're just talking so fast. You're like, what did I say? Like, and I can just imagine listeners being like, what an idiot. But then if they got on here, they do the same thing because it's just human nature.
Right. Like you just babble sometimes. Like, I mean, I do. I wasn't saying you, I was saying me.
Oh, I do for sure. I do that.
And I just like, I think I get like ahead of myself and I'm like, oh, well, it sounds good coming out. Like, it sounds better than me going for 10 minutes.
You know how many times I just like wander into like a swamp while talking and then somehow manage to talk my way out of it before I drowned? Like, that's just how I do it. Like, I just basically do that the entire time. Because my brain's just like all like that. Just.
Yeah, I wish mine worked that way. I just keep drowning. Like, yeah. Like, how long can you hold your breath? Apparently a long time until I actually drown.
Speaking of 1982, I could hold my breath a long time. Creepshow.
Oh, yes. Oh, well, I mean, I think that's okay, Creepshow 1 or 2?
1.
Yeah?
Way over 2. 2 has like 2's just too cheap and sloppy compared to the first one. The first one's just like brilliant the whole thing.
Oh man, I love it so much. Like I don't know, like I like cried, with the Indian and
I hate the old guy. I hate when they kill George Kennedy. It's sad, but no, that's what I'm talking about, right? Creepshow 2 is one of those movies that you rate higher than it probably should be, and it's one that I love too growing up. So it's just like that's kind of those movies. 87, I think, or 88. That's a very sweet spot for that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
No, like I feel like I'm like really into anthology stuff right now. Like I'm reading like a Blumhouse anthology book, oddly. I've only read like 2 chapters of it, but like it's just fun to like, because I like to read it in between like me finishing another book just for like a palate cleanser. So I'll read like a story, and it's just funny that it's Blumhouse and like,
yeah, it's weird. I don't think Blumhouse has ever made an anthology.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And I don't feel like there's been like a really good anthology. I mean, because everything goes to streaming now, right?
Yeah.
But I don't feel like we've had like a really good anthology film like in a theater. I'm trying to think, like, what was the last good anthology? Like Trick or Treat?
Yeah, Mortuary Collection's really good, but it didn't go to theaters.
Yeah, that one was
I was
good.
really impressed with that one.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have it doesn't have the cultural impact as Trick or Treat. It's hard to do a cultural impact in a movie. I think Sinners did, and I'm glad because I thought Sinners was great. I thought I had a lot of fun with it. But anthologies are interesting. Like going through the early 80s, I knew all the Amicus stuff from Britain. I would love that stuff growing up, and obviously the other stuff. And I love anthology shows like Tales from the Crypt and Twilight Zone. But going through the early 80s, I was looking at these countries, and I was like, wow, like Brazil had a bunch of them. And like they're weird because they're like sex horror movies. And then the Shaw Brothers did a bunch of them too, and they're just like 2-3 stories in one movie, and you're just like, are these just like leftovers? They just have like a short that a director made. But it's weird that like you never associate a lot of countries with anthologies except basically Britain and America, right? But a lot of these countries do have their own anthologies, and it's just strange.
Like what? I'm trying to remember. There was one I watched like a year or 2 ago. It's an older one. You'll probably know it. And they're like on a train. It's an anthology.
Train to Terror, 1985.
It's like Heaven and Hell.
Yeah, that's Night Train to Terror, which is a bunch of movies that were incompleted that they somehow forced into this one movie. There's one with Cameron Mitchell from 1980 called Catalysm, which is kind of fun, but yeah, it's a ridiculous movie.
Yeah, like it was like on Tubi, and I was just like, okay, we're gonna give this a shot, and then like it just has like these people like randomly aerobicizing, like. Yeah. And I'm like, what is happening?
Everybody's got something to do. Why don't you? As that music keeps coming in. Yeah, that movie's nonsense, but it's fun.
Yeah, like, no, like, I mean, like, even if, like, we were to get stuff like that, like, I would dig it. Like, I love a good anthology tell, So I feel like I need to just make one.
I made a couple, but they're dirt cheap. But yeah, they're fun. We had fun making them. I don't know if they're any good, but they're not good. But they're fun.
Right.
Have you seen From a Whisper to a Scream? That's one I'd recommend that maybe not everybody's seen, from 1987. That's a good one. Jeff Bird did it, and it has like 3 stories in there, and Susan Tyrrell and Vincent Price are in the wraparound.
Oh, okay.
It's really fun.
From a Whisper to a Scream?
From a Whisper to a Scream. If you can check that one out. I think it's AKA The Offspring.
I feel like I've heard the name. Like, obviously.
You might have seen it.
Like, there's that's like the ending song of Scream. So like I don't know why I haven't watched it yet, because obviously I'm obsessed and I never not talk about it. So
Yeah, that everybody doesn't know Lacey's favorite movie is Scream. It's like me with the Dead movies, like Romero's movies. Like everything is like compared to those. Like it's somehow like it's so hard not to. Like you have to train yourself not to like somehow try to pigeon everything into that. Like I feel like a shitty cop when I'm like trying not like with tunnel vision. Like it's that guy and it's clearly not that guy, but I just won't give up the ghost. Like so I keep bringing in the Dead films. I'm like George Romero's dead. That guy had an eyeball. See, the same eyeball right there. And people are like, what are you talking about?
what are you doing?
Yeah, like it's like you could tell people that haven't like I'm going to tell about social cues, even though I'm clearly insane. But like people that haven't fully developed their social skills, like in like talking about movies, they'll always bring back the same 4 or 5 movies no matter what. Like I know, like we all do it, but like no matter what, they'll shoehorn in a conversation that doesn't belong.
Right.
You'd be talking about frogs, and then all of a sudden we're talking about Psycho. It's like,
how did we get to Norman Bates?
yeah, like how do we get from Norman Bates to like like talking about Jello jigglers? I don't understand.
Like it's like the 60s of horror movies.
Yeah.
The one thing that I would say is like like sometimes it's hard to get Dan to watch some of these older movies, but it's always so much fun when he does agree to do it but then like I'll get like one that's really bad that I haven't seen, like the one originally titled Scream from I think
1981.
It's so bad. It's so bad. And so when I was telling him about this one, he was like, it better not be like that. It better not.
It's not as bad. I mean, I don't hate Scream, but it's bad. Like, it's not a movie where I'd be like, I'm not going to die on a hill. I'd be like, it's pretty crappy, but I don't hate it because when I went to watch it, everyone was like, it's the worst movie I've ever seen. I'm like, it's not even close, guys. But it's
bad. It's bad.
It's slow, and it's just like, there's one good kill in it where the dude falls off the balcony and his head gets lopped off. That's a good kill. It's just, also Woody Strode's in that movie, and he comes in for like the last 3.5 seconds, and he looks like a goddamn ghost himself. Isn't Woody Strode in that movie for like the ending? I feel like he is.
It's like people like show up on horses and shit. Like it's so freaking random. It's like an Indian ghost town, and like
I remember. It's old like abandoned western town. Like they used to shoot those like shootouts in like Arizona or something.
And like it just like beer bottles breaking like the whole movie. Like it's just like you can't see anything. It's just one of those dark horror movies. Like you just can't see anything that's happening in it.
It feels like they started before the script was finished.
Right. Like, what are you doing? Like, here, let's just go to. We got this town. Let's go film for 48 hours and see what happens. Like,
the main problem with that movie is too, like, the best actors and the most interesting characters all die first. They're like, this guy's all right, and he's dead. This guy's all right too, he's dead. All the then like you're stuck with the guy who's like, I don't have a character. Like, there's this one scene in that movie where like the guy's like, I don't want to pee inside. Dude, if there's a killer outside, I'm taking a piss in the corner. You guys are just gonna have to turn around. The guy's like, I'm leaving to pee. It's like, no, you're peeing in the corner. Don't leave. And everybody's like a John Wayne wannabe in that movie. So they're like, I'm going out to take a piss, and then they're just dead.
Sorry, yeah.
Rejected John Wayne like wannabes and just getting mad. I like it, but like I said, it's not good.
No, I can't say that I liked it at all. Like, so, like, I have to tread very carefully. But like, I've had some good ones. Like, I got him to watch Hell Night, and now he loves Hell Night.
Hell Night's good.
You know, I think he ended up. Did you end up liking this movie, Dan? Did you end up liking Death Screams?
Yeah, that was dope.
Okay. He said,
Ask him about the sheriff.
Dave wants to know what you thought about the sheriff.
The sheriff who came in hot, blowing off heads at the end.
That's like
amazing. That was so dope. I loved it.
You want to come say hi?
Hi.
Oh, okay. He's just like, let you do your
I'll
thing.
be right in.
Oh, he'll be right in, I guess. He'll be right back.
Is there anything? Oh, you'll be right back. You had to shoehorn it in, didn't you?
Right. It's free.
Is there anything you want to plug?
Oh man, well, I will be having an interview with Andrew Keegan dropping here soon. People like he's not really known for horror movies, but if you're a fan of like the 90s, like I am, like Seventh Heaven or not How to Lose a Guy, 10 Things I Hate About You.
Yeah.
He's in that.
Which character's he in that?
He plays he's like the douche. Like, in the White Beater, he plays Joey. He's the one that gives Joseph Gordon-Levitt money to give to Heath Ledger to take out Bianca.
Yeah.
He was also in the movie Othello. Mekhi Phifer. He was in one of my favorite movies as a kid growing up, Camp Nowhere.
Is that the one with Christopher Lloyd, right?
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen that one. That and Bushwhacked. I remember those movies where it's like, we're just going to do like a weird summer camp movie after like 20 years after Ernest Goes to Camp came out.
I love him though. Like Daniel Stern was great in that.
I love Daniel Stern. Underrated actor.
Really? Like honestly, like and he's a great voiceover too.
Yeah, Wonder Years make you cry.
I love that show so much, but I hate the finale. Like, I think I hate the finale the way that people hate the end of How I Met Your Mother.
Seinfeld, Sopranos, every show. People are never satisfied with the ending because they don't want it to end.
No, the perfect ending, in my opinion, to any TV show ever, it's not a horror one, but it is, I think, perfect. It is The Office. Oh, hey, Dan, say hello to Mr. Dave Parker.
What's up, Mr. Parker?
What's up, man?
Oh, we're on video. Sorry.
Yeah. What's up?
What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
I'm good. You?
Good. Excellent. Just running some errands, getting some iced coffees, feeding Dewey some eggs. You know, just normal shit.
Give me a 30-second review of Death Screams. 30 seconds.
All right. So the whole time I was thinking, you know, a lot of the times in these movies, you don't get a lot of character development. Now, I wouldn't say what we were watching is necessarily character development as much as like we're watching people do things, but I think sometimes it has the same effect. So watching that for about an hour and then watching just complete fucking chaos the last, you know, half hour, 20 minutes, I went in with pretty low expectations because, you know, like, I don't know, like I have heard about it, but nothing really, you know, noteworthy. And I was really surprised. I thought it was fun. I thought that last 20 minutes was completely batshit insane. And like you had said, the sheriff at the end, I mean, talk about like complete perfect timing of a slow pendulum swing over right when the killer comes down, boom, right in the head. Thank you. There's your movie. I thought it was great. It was I think I've gone over 30 seconds, so.
Thanks, Dan.
Much appreciated. You can hear him on Cut to the Chase.
I love you guys. Peace out.
Take care. Yeah, I mean, that was fun. I mean, we talked a lot about Death Screams and a lot about other stuff, too, but that's Death Screams.
That's Death Screams, yeah.
I feel like John Madden. I'm like, yeah, no, you know, that's football. It just get put off that subject. Again, do you want to plug anything?
Yeah, just...
You plugged that.
Andrew Keegan interview will be coming out soon. And for those that don't listen to podcasts, I'll be transcribing that. Dan will transcribe it for me because he's a G like that. For popcorn.com. What else? Full House commentaries. Like I said, I'm big into the 90s for those that are like 90s fans. I do those. Slumber Party Massacre will be making its triumphant return in June. We've been a bit on hiatus. My dad passed away, so we kind of just took some time off from, you know, the big long shows, but we are coming back, and we are coming back with a vengeance, covering the Evil Dead franchise. So
good choice.
We will be, because I feel like it's very diverse on where people's opinions lie. So I think if that's going to be a really fun pillow fight. Yeah.
Do you like the 90s one? Speaking of 90s, do you like Army of Darkness?
I remember liking it as a kid. I don't think I've seen it since. So like, I just remember it always made me want to go to medieval times. So I'm curious if I'll like it now. We're not going to do the TV show.
Yeah, that's a lot to add in one show, you know.
But I have to rewatch the remake. I mean, I've seen the newer one, Rise, quite a bit, but I've only seen the remake like once or twice, and like I'm pretty self-proclaimed hate it. So
I don't love it either. I don't hate it, but I just don't care.
Yeah, like I'm so curious of how I'm gonna feel about it this go around. So, and which film like I'm actually gonna like. Like I think I'm gonna have to like break it up and like watch one once a week because they are kind of a lot mentally.
It's also the cuts of Army of Darkness. There's like 3-4 cuts of that movie. There's the theatrical. It's like it's weird. The boot, like I don't know. I'd probably go with theatrical, right? It's probably the safest bet, or extended. It's hard to say.
Which one would you choose?
I used to always watch the extended or bootleg cut, but as I got older, I think I prefer the theatrical because the ending's better.
So you would pick Army of Darkness as your favorite out of the 5, or?
I don't think it's the best, but I think it might be my favorite.
And I think that's like what makes it like I think that's where people get things like twisted is when it's preference over quality. I guess you know what I mean. And like I'll admit I like some shitty ass movies. I like Return to Sleepaway Camp. Like sue me.
It's not as bad as people say it is. I mean, and it's like good in a bad. It's good bad movie. Does that make sense?
So good and bad. Yes.
Yeah, it's like your ass stinks, and you're just like. It was like the most. It was like a real betrayal of a lot of like everybody always thinks the person that's picked on is like a nice person all the time. It's like sometimes the person who's bullied is also an asshole. Like it happens. Okay, like he's also a bully. Like he's a bully to everybody. And it's like I hate this fucker, so he just gets picked on. It's not always that way, but it does happen like that.
Yeah, and I mean, there's some like really messed up stuff that happens in that movie, and like I don't know, like I just remember I was super excited to see it come on the shelves, like because I waited for years for it, right? Yeah. And then like I don't even remember like hearing about it coming out, and then I was just at like Family Video and I walked the shelves and I'm like, what do you mean? And I picked it up right away and I was like, okay, well this is different, but like because you go from having the original and then you have the Pam Springsteen ones and then like we're like, okay, oh, so this is what we're doing, okay. And
it's a weird series.
It was, but it was fun, like for what it was. And I feel like maybe over time, people of the franchise that are fans of the franchise might appreciate it more going down the road, just because it did bring back, from 1 to 4.
It was kind of like an exciting thing to like walk down the video store and see a sequel to a movie. Like, oh, they got a new Leprechaun movie. Because like when you're 6 or 7, you're not reading Fangoria. You can barely, you're picking up Cracked and Mad Magazine and looking at stupid pictures and shit. But what's really weird is the Sleepaway Camp franchise, the first 4 is a lot like the Men Behind the Sun franchise. And not like exactly what they are, but the first one was made by a really kind of controversial director, and then the second and third one were made like really goofy and crappy, like by a kind of a hacky director, and then the fourth one, the director came back and made the fourth one, and it's like the most fucked up of them all. And I mean, they're not, but it's just like the first and fourth are together, and the second and third are together. And that's with the Sleepaway Camp, the first and fourth, and the second and third. It's just a weird kind of thing like that.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably why, like you said, like we didn't have like the easily access to like the internet just skewing our viewpoints of things. So we're probably more forgiving of shit than, our generation than, who came after us. So.
Yeah. We were in a dry spell when like shit like The Dentist was like a 5-star classic. Like Dr. Giggles, that's the best movie ever. Like
the Ice Cream Man.
Yeah, Ice Cream Man. It's just people's jobs. It's like this guy's like it's a job and that's the killer. Like can't even tell what a horror movie is. If you mixed all of them up, you'd be so confused. You'd be like, the astronaut's wife. Is this a horror movie?
Yeah, he's just a stepdad. He's obviously a killer. The stepmom.
Just before we go, what's your favorite 1982 horror movie?
Oh man.
Got the Thing, Creepshow, Tenebrae, New York Ripper, Basket Case, Slumber Party Massacre, Friday the 13th Part 3, Halloween 3.
Oh, well, it's not that.
Oh, I love Halloween 3.
Well, I mean, I'm just so partial to the other. Poltergeist.
Poltergeist. I forgot Poltergeist. Yeah, that's one of the heavy hitters.
Yeah. I watched that movie a couple of years ago, and I mean, not for the first time. Like I watched it all the time growing up, and like I was never scared of it. And then I don't know what it was. I sat by myself, watched it alone in the dark. Like Dan was like working it overnight, and I shut off all the lights, and I was like, I'm gonna see if this movie can freak me out. Holy fuck, did it! Like
the clown, man. The clown's unpleasant.
Well, and it's so reminiscent of Nightmare on Elm Street. Like she's like on the wall, like she was doing that before Wes Craven did that, and Nightmare on Elm Street. So I don't know, like I just feel and it has a bit of like entity vibes to it, and that it's pre-entity too, which I think Entity's like the scariest movie of all time.
Entity's also 82.
Is it?
The thing about the Entity though was it was made and finished by 81. The same thing with the One Dark Knight, and they were released in 82 because they got held back, which is kind of unfair for them. And I don't even think they made it wide until 83, so it's just like everybody thought they were ripoffs of Poltergeist, but they were made around the same time or before. It's just unfortunate those movies had that back, because the Entity's very similar to Poltergeist in that they're like true kind of story, or they have some sort of fact or like scientific whatever. Some people believe the Entity happened, and that's the same thing with what was the other one that they Amityville 2, also 1982, had that backstory from 1974 when DeFeo killed his family. So it's like they have some truth to them, and they add in like the science elements and stuff with Entity and Poltergeist. Yeah, Poltergeist not based on a true story, but some of that stuff was very prevalent, where people thought like the infield haunting and all that kind of stuff was based in some sort of fact.
Yeah, I feel like I'm like a weirdo, but like that movie like stuck with me probably mostly because like it like I probably overconsume like media, and you know, like my brain is always like staring at a screen, you know. So like when he it's just one of the best moments, and it like also like broke my heart at the same time. I don't know if anybody else felt that way, but when they go to the hotel at the very end of the movie and he wheels that TV out, and it almost just like breaks your heart, because you're like, no, they're not gonna be able to watch TV no more. You know?
The one thing about Poltergeist and Nightmare on Elm Street is Spielberg and Craven both tend to do this. They're both suburban directors, where all their movies take place in suburbia, but the suburbs I grew up in could never afford any of their fucking houses. Like I'm seeing E.T.'s fucking suburbs and Poltergeist, and I'm like, motherfuckers are rich. Like in these cul-de-sacs, they're like, now they'd be like $1.2 million houses and shit. And Wes Craven always had like the upper middle class. They're definitely suburban kind of directors. They want the horror to take place in everyday America.
Yeah, no, and that's great. Because like I just watched a bunch of Hooper last year for my 31 days. Like Wes Craven's my favorite director of all time, and so I definitely just love this like little era that we like. I feel like, you know, and like you said, we started to get like supernatural stuff going from this point forward, and I don't know, I just feel like it was it's definitely a moment. I wasn't alive for it, but these movies you definitely felt, because I was born like 5 years later, right? So it's definitely like these films are stuff that I grew up on. I didn't grow up on Death Screams, because
Death Screams probably wasn't in the video store where I was at, but I do want to make sure I meant Spielberg produced. I know Hooper directed it, but he does have a heavy hand in where the backdrop of the movies look like and stuff like that. But I'll let you go. I kept you way too long.
No, I appreciate it. This was, like I said, a long time in the making. Thank you so much for having me. I hope I didn't make too big of an idiot out of myself.
No, you did. You did great. I mean, it was Death Screams. We just didn't have that much to talk about Death Screams. That's also my fault. I mean, we did it well for it, I think.
I think so. Yeah. I don't know. I'm sorry, I was being the sheriff.
I don't know. But I appreciate you coming on. That's definitely going to be the last clip, is that sheriff saying, I don't know.
Yeah, please do.
All right. Take care.
Yep. Bye, Dave.
Oh my God. Why?
Adam, let's just get you home.